You are watching the 2025 NBA Epitome Game Series presented by Law Murray, Power Rankings Project Ringmaster at The Athletic. This is where I pick out one game from each team from the last regular season. I am putting the spotlight on the biggest weakness of the 14 teams that missed the playoffs and the biggest strength of the 16 playoff teams from the regular season. This installment features the Miami Heat. This season started out like most for the Miami Heat as they swam around 500 through the first couple months of the season. But then the differences between Jimmy Butler and President Pat Riley became too great of a distraction. These videos are already long enough and you know the deal here. Butler was suspended multiple times before he was moved in a 5-team trade to Golden State in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, Kyle Anderson, and this year's first-round pick. Miami had a rough time after the break, losing 10 straight games at one point and finishing with a 37-45 record, 10th in the East and their worst finish in a decade. The good news is that they aced their third straight play-in tournament, becoming the first 10 seed to steal the 8th seed by eliminating Chicago and Atlanta. Bad news is that they got swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and their fans would have appreciated a lottery pick if that's how it was going to end. The epitome game for the Heat came at Golden State in early January, the night after losing at Sacramento in double overtime. Jimmy Butler was still on the roster, but suspended, as he was for most of his final weeks in Miami. The Heat have been a top 10 defense for 5 years in a row, and this game showed how they could get it done on that end of the floor, even without Butler. A little bit of a two-man game between Andrew Wiggins and Dennis Schroeder up top, and that allows Miami to switch Terry Rozier on to Andrew Wiggins. Now, that appears to be advantage Golden State, but as Andrew Wiggins gets to the paint, Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, they collapse. They help off of non-shooters, force a steal. Later in the first half, Dennis Schroeder gets to the paint, gets it to Trace Jackson Davis, but Bam Adebayo is there, doesn't block the shot, but does a good job defending without fouling and forcing a bad miss, and Jaime Jaquez Jr. is there for the rebound. This instance here, this is the only time in the last 3 quarters that the Heat committed a shooting foul. And it's actually the second and one that Khalil Ware gave up in this game. This time to Trace Jackson Davis, earlier to Draymond Green. But for the most part, this is what you get from the Miami Heat. Even when they're at a disadvantage, they're able to make the smart play on the ball without fouling. Andrew Wiggins, dive cut. The Heat aren't really prepared, but Bam Adebayo is there to separate the ball from Wiggins. The Heat won this game 114-98, committing only 9 fouls and holding Golden State to only 5 free throw attempts, while the Warriors made only 40.8% of their 98 field goal attempts. That was the lowest free throw attempt rate allowed of the season for the Heat, and only one team allowed fewer free throw attempts than Miami last season. The biggest move Miami has made this offseason was to trade for Norman Powell in a deal that only cost the Heat Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love, while using the 20th pick that they got from the Warriors on combo guard Kasparis Jonas. Duncan Robinson also left for Detroit, with the Heat getting back Simone Fontecchio in a sign and trade. This is probably the least talented Heat team of the 2020s, but the opportunity to improve is there due to the coaching and the fact that it would be hard to have worse vibes than what Miami dealt with in the Butler distraction. Stay tuned for the next installment of the 2025 NBA Epitome Game Series featuring the Milwaukee Bucks.